So welcome to our tour of the Yamaha Guitar Development Custom Shop. My name is Campolattano. I'm the senior designer in Luthier, and I'm also joined here by Rafael Barajas, our amazing painter, and Enns, our acoustic guitar builder. We're going to meet them in a little bit, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take you through our workshop, kind of how we might build one of our instruments. So yeah, just follow me back here. And speaking of jack baits, we got something cool to show as well. So this room here, we call it the clean room. This is really our setup and assembly room. And this is where we do all the modifications, where we do setups, repairs. And when we build a new instrument, I'll do it right here on my workbench. And we got some cool instruments in the room today. Yeah, so speaking of jack baits, we just finished up this bass. This is a BBP 34 custom that we did for him. And actually, you know, they're big Manchester United fans, so we had Pamelina Hovnatanian, amazing artist and painter that we work with, hand paint the graphics on here. Even put the BB logo on there. It's pretty cool. How about some championship years? Pretty awesome. And we got some other cool instruments too. This one we did for Corey McCormick, who plays with Lucas Nelson and Neil Young. This one's pretty rad. It's got his little face in there. Year he was born. Name of his wife and son on there, Ellis. Really cool golf blue and orange. And a couple of these new Pacifica 24 fret models for Jeff Schroeder from Smashing Pumpkins. He's going to be playing these alongside Jack with the Pumpkins soon. And actually, really cool, I got this. This is actually the very first bass Yamaha ever made for Billy Sheehan. It's in here. We're going to give it a once-over, going to clean up the frets. We're going to replace this bridge pickup here and get it back in working order. But this is a really cool piece of history. And actually, we got some other things that we'll show you later in the shop tour related to this. This is a really cool instrument. The color is very unique. So, you know, we do all of the setups and repairs and everything here, but when we're building a custom instrument for an artist, it all starts with the wood, really, and we keep that in here too. So, check out right behind me. We got our wood storage closet, and it's pretty well humidity controlled. We're in Southern California, so it's pretty dry. We keep all the body wood here. Got neck wood here, and then acoustic guitar wood here as well. And we do all sorts of different materials. And we actually specialize in this ARE process that Yamaha, you know, pioneered years and years ago. This is a really cool artificial way of aging the wood, making it sound like it's been played for many, many years. So we are always testing materials, and we'll come through here. And, you know, an artist says, you know, I want a neck blank that has a certain grain, or, you know, I want a quarter sawn instead of flat sawn, or I want a top, specific top, and they'll pick out, you know, whatever they like. So we'll come through here, we'll pick what they want, and, you know, it all kind of starts and ends here. And the reason it ends here too is because you could see this is Rafael's bench. He's very color coordinated. This is another bass for Corey McCormick too. This is a really cool one that Rafael painted. This is a vintage SB5A Yamaha bass that we're restoring and redoing. It came in a little rough shape. But Rafael's bench is here because right next to us here is the buffing room. So he's able to buff and then bring it over here, and then, you know, we need to tune anything up or clean it up. He's able to do it right here, right in one spot. And minimal movement of the instruments once they're finished is really good, because we don't want to get any scratches or any dents or dings. So you can see just basic kind of buffing room here. And we set it up this way so you know, we keep all the dust and dirt and things as far away from the paint as we can. So when Rafael's done, he'll put it here in the hopper. And you see some other projects that we've been working on. We've got some Attitude necks, some cool new Pacifica necks working on. And then right over here is Andrew Enns' bench. And Andrew does his assembly here as well. He works a little bit differently than we do because acoustic guitars have a different assembly process than electric guitars do. Electric guitars are a little bit more involved when it comes to all the parts and things. So we keep our little parts in here. And actually, we have some parts right over here we keep in our storage closet. So as we come through the shop, we keep a backlog of everything. I got some vintage parts or new tuners or something like that we keep in here. And come right through here. This is our office, called the fishbowl. And this is nice because if an artist comes in, we could catch him coming in. This is my desk. I'm able to do some drawing, some editing, or whatever I need to do and keep an eye on the CNC machine in the other room. I can keep that running while I'm doing my desk work. So yeah, let's go inside the wood shop, the workshop, and see what's going on in there. We've got a cool CNC demo for you as well. It's gonna be about 2 minutes. Oh, here's Andrew. Hey Andrew, what's going on, man? We'll get to Andrew in just a bit, but you can see here, this is my second workstation. This is where I'm able to take the drawings that I've done, and actually I have a RevStar here pulled up. I'm actually able to take the drawings, and if somebody wants a different inlay or something like that, and I got to do it on the fly, I'll just program it here, and it's wirelessly beamed over to the CNC, and I'm able to, edit or change or do whatever on the fly. Everything we do here is pretty much a one-off, so everything is, got minuscule little details that we're trying to cover. And you can see, we make all the pick guards here. I'll make the headstock templates. And you can see this is an oversized version of the RevStar top and the body. It's the core of the body. And actually, I'm gonna do a little demo here for you and cut one of these. So if I come over here, I'll select my program, turn on the graphics just to see. It's gonna do what I tell it to. Cross our fingers, and we'll let it run. Take a peek. This will take about 2 minutes. All right, so you saw just one little step in what it takes to make an electric guitar, and you can see I got some other pieces here too. Got some necks. This is actually a pretty cool neck, making for one of our 30th anniversary guitars. And you can see the body over here. It's a nice ebony stripe with black Carina wood. This is gonna be wonderful. And I got some artist guitars too. What we do here is all the corporate research and development for Yamaha guitars, but we also make all the artist custom guitars. And it's just the three of us really. And we all have our own kind of specialty. My specialty is of course, a lot of machining and electric guitars. But Andrew Enns is our acoustic guitar builder. And you know, we always are trading our techniques and really trying to develop and cross-train. And what we do is, you know, we're making the first prototypes for products that you buy at your local music store. And you know, when they're built in the factory, we're trying to get the factory to make them just like we make them here. So we're always developing process. And what I'll do is I'll make bridges or programs for acoustic guitar parts, and I'll help Andrew out, and Andrew will help me with binding or with you know, maybe some detailed hand technique. And actually, yeah, let's check out what Andrew's up to. Now, when Andrew came on board, none of this stuff existed, and he's very humble. But actually, you know, this whole Go Bar deck and all the tooling and his workbench, he made himself. This didn't exist before he worked here. And you know, I'm really proud to have him as a coworker. I think he does amazing stuff, and I've learned a lot in the few years that he's been here. So Andrew, tell us what you've been up to. What are you working on?
Well, I'm working on, right now, I got a top, an acoustic guitar top on my bench, and I'm voicing, which is shaving the braces thinner in certain areas and leaving them thick in some areas to allow the top to vibrate the way we want it to. And mostly I just take a lot off around the edges, kind of like this, to make it thinner and more flexible around the edge. That generally gives you a little better bass response, something like that. I can't reveal all the secrets, you know, but we spend a lot of time testing bracing patterns, testing bracing dimensions, testing top thicknesses, doing 3D simulations with our colleagues in Japan, testing everything we can as many times as we can, because we can make a really great guitar one time, but how do we replicate that a bunch of times in a factory? And that's our goal here, is to not just make one great guitar, but help a factory make a bunch of great guitars. So what we can make here, we can duplicate and you can get at any guitar store, because we can't make that many guitars by ourselves.
No, just the three of us. It's hard to make the thousands of guitars that Yamaha makes every year. But you know, Andrew has a lot of this very amazing classical technique and comes from the school of classical guitar making, the classical Spanish guitar making, nylon string style. Which is what Yamaha's history is, you know, dating back to in the 40s. You know, Yamaha started making some acoustic guitars, and all those guitars, we, you know, had some really amazing Spanish luthiers come and teach us techniques. And, you know, what we're always trying to do is learn and to, you know, spread out and understand different techniques, different styles. So we kind of blend the, you know, the CNC work and all the technical aspects and all of the, you know, work done by hand. You'd be really surprised that, you know, all of the Yamaha acoustic guitars that you play are built by hand. You know, they're amazing, amazing guitars that we build in Japan, we build in China, we build in Indonesia, and we build for all the markets across the globe. We have to make sure that they're gonna, you know, stand up to the heat and humidity and temperature of everything. So we test all those things. And I know we put Andrew through the ringer making tons of acoustic guitars all by yourself. So, I mean, this is one step, you know, after the braces are glued on. What comes after this, Andrew?
Well, we got, you know, this is just one part. This is one, you would argue, the most important part of the acoustic guitar, but it doesn't do anything without the sides and the back to make the box. So over here, I've got, here's a guitar with the sides glued on. As Pat said, I learned acoustic guitar making the Spanish way, which is generally with a neck already on it, and what's called a Spanish heel, but built from the top to the back. And I approach steel string guitar the same way. So this is a guitar with the top on, sides on, and it's ready for the back. It's got the shape ready for the back, as you can see. we'll test fit the back here real quick. And that's ready to go. So I approach this just very old school. This is acoustic guitar making is old, and so some of the techniques that work, you just stick with it. So let's glue this back on. Forgive me if I don't talk too much while I'm gluing the back on.
I'm impressed you're laying that glue line down so clean.
Steady hands.
That's amazing.
Sorry. And then I'll dab it a little bit here to make sure it's nice and even.
So this is where I learned from Andrew, because
Yeah.
I make a lot of hollow bodies and arch tops and stuff, but Andrew's got all this skill bending all the sides and stuff. So
this is a crucial. You got to get the amount of glue right here, because you don't want your guitar to not be adequately glued together. But you also don't want to look inside and see a whole bunch of glue squeezing out of your joints. So the sponge just kind of helps that even out the amount of glue. So now we're ready to mate the back to the sides and top, to close the box, as they say. So I'll start this off with a cam clamp here at the tail, and then one here at the head block. And now I approach this a little bit old school, but it's kind of fun. You know, hog tie this back down. And this is just nothing special, just nylon rope. And a lot of guys do binding this way. Well, they'll glue the binding on. It's just gives you not too much pressure, just enough pressure to hold your pieces together until the glue dries. I mean, acoustic guitar is thin pieces of wood, and you don't want to crush it with heavy clamps. So there we go. And that's that.
wow.
One box closed.
So when this part is over, you know, there's still plenty of steps. You got to make the neck, you got to make the fingerboard and stuff.
Yes.
So are we, you know, once you go here, what's next? What
Here
comes
we
after?
got binding. And here's an example of binding. This white part you see around the edge. What that does is that helps protect the edges from impacts. Helps kind of seal up all the joints, but protecting the edge from impact so that you don't get cracks up your side or up your top or back. And then we have to cut the dovetail joint and mate our neck. Here's a rough neck with the fretboard. And this is ready to be put on CNC and have the final neck shape cut into it. And it's been rough fit so that the dovetail fits like that. And then you've got a roughly assembled guitar. Once the final neck shape is set in by the CNC, we'll do some sanding, and then it'll be ready for finish.
Yeah, so I mean, once you know, we put in the frets and we're ready to like start doing the finishing process, you know, we design the shop in a certain way so everything kind of moves further and further away from the spray booth. And thanks, Andrew, that was awesome. I
You're welcome.
look forward to hearing that guitar specifically.
Yeah, this one's
It's
gonna be
pretty
a good
fun. Actually, you could see over here, we got a couple of guitars that we've been working on. But this is the sanding station. This is where Rafael Barajas, our painter, you know, spends a lot of time. You could see actually this guitar is for Lewis Allen, who plays with Sam Smith. This is going to be a fun one too. This is a roasted alder body, but he asked for a GK pickups, all sorts of wacky stuff. So, you know, we'll build one-offs and go wild. And this is one of Andrew's guitars. This is wonderful too. This is Pau Ferro. That's really beautiful looking wood. So, you know, when things come off of the CNC machine like this, like that Pacifica you saw in the other room for Jeff Schroeder, this was one of the test bodies that we cut. This is what it looks like when it comes right off the CNC, and it has you know, some small lips and things that need to be sanded. We got to put the radius on the edges and make it all nice and clean. And you can see here, you know, the first one had a sustainer, so we were testing, you know, how to cut the through channels and everything. So Rafael will do a lot of work here, sanding and preparing everything for the first coat of paint until he gets to about this stage. Now this is where we were talking about Billy's bass. This has just been finished sanded, so it needs to be buffed now. It's been sanded to about 2000 grit. So there's plenty of steps in between. I'll let Rafael tell you more about that. But really it goes from sanding the bare wood to sealing it, to filling the grain, to more coats, more sanding. We're gonna do every step. We're gonna grain fill, we're gonna put the color on, then we're gonna put a top coat and sand it and go again and again. So why don't you follow me this way? And actually, before we get to Rafael, this station belongs to Daryl Anderson. Daryl Anderson is our drum builder, and he does a lot of important work for Yamaha drums. He does a lot of artist kits and does some really cool stuff. So this is his bench, and we share this facility with him. And he's got his own little room too. Well, I don't know if I'd call it little. Why don't you come on through here, through the warehouse. Wonderful boxes and all. So we got the spray booth over here, but just off to the side, this little room we call the Budokon. And the Budokon is essentially a live concert hall. And this whole room was acoustically treated by an audio engineer. We have all the lights and sound and everything so we could test at full volume. We invite our artists here when we design a new product. So let's talk about Enns guitars or the Atmosphere pickup system in some of the new guitars that have come out. We tested all those things here in this room and upstairs. And what we do is we want to test things at full volume so they're not going to feed back on stage. And we want to get the artist feedback that it's sounding tonally correct. And this is a great place for us to see if everything's going to look good on stage too. So we got the whole light set up. And for things to look really good, we got to tip it off to Rafael here and, make sure you don't tap on the glass. Animals are easily startled. But this is the spray booth, and you can see there's a couple of projects in here. We try and keep it as clean as we can. And in there, we spent quite a bit of time making this as clean as possible so it takes in fresh air from the roof and it blows it through the back, and then all of the chemicals and everything are filtered, a million times, so the air that comes out is perfectly clean. And we're really big on the health and safety aspect of it, and we really want everything to be as clean as possible. And actually, Rafael is here. He's got his little room right here. Welcome, Rafael Barajas.
Hey. Thanks for the introduction, Pat. I'm one of the builders here, and I'll talk to you guys a little bit about paint and the process and all that stuff. I hope everybody's staying safe and healthy. So as far as painting goes, paint is one of those things that, like, on paper is really simple. You seal a piece of wood, you put some color on, and then you top coat it, and life is good. But of course, there's a lot of ins, a lot of outs, there's a lot of steps in between, a lot of sanding, a lot of, it's tough. Anybody that's ever painted something will tell you they had a hell of a time the first time and all that. You guys saw in the other room, there's my my sanding area. There's a whole lot of sanding going on over there. But then I have this little room here where this is where I come and think and come up with new ideas and all that. So yeah, this is pretty cool. A little bit about me, I guess. I've been at it for a little while now. Maybe I'm going on 17 years, right? And I don't know, I guess I kind of fell into it by accident a little bit. I was going to school, and a friend of mine told me, hey, like, check out this place, they'll teach you how to make guitars. And I thought, oh, that's weird, I never thought about that. And so I went there, and really 17 years later, I'm still here. I think the one that was most upset was my mom, really, right? She wanted me to do something else, and maybe that's digging in a little too much.
Well, each one of these guitars, these little rev stars that you see is, telling a story. And you know, you have been in the business 17 years. We actually worked together previously at a different place, and you know, we've been friends for so many years. And when we had a chance to hire a dedicated painter, it was, you know, the #1 thing on my list. There was no second phone number. There was just yours. And you know, I told Ken DePron, the guy who founded this whole, you know, area, the custom shop, I said, we got to get Rafael in here. And you know, he's done an amazing job making all these beautiful colors. And you know, he works with all the artists just like I do, but we also do all of the R&D work. So
Yeah.
you could see all these little guitars that are on the wall are custom colors that Rafael came up with. And they're actually, you know, mixed by hand, and we try and duplicate some things. And you know, you could see like the gold top we did for Chris Buck is up there, or you could see that blue and orange, you know, color from Corey McCormick's space in the other room.
Yeah, I guess half of my work here is working with artists, and that's pretty rewarding. They'll come in with an idea and they'll say, you know, this is what I want, and so this room is pretty handy for that, because Pat and I can show them like, okay, so this is kind of like a good starting point. They'll say, well, I don't want it to look like that. I want it to look like this. And sometimes we even go off the rails. I say, like, why don't we just pour a bunch of paint on there? Or, you know, I'm a big Back to the Future guy, and I thought like, oh, why don't we make a guitar like Marty McFly's hat, you know, that changes color, and you know, something really, really wild like that. And so working with artists is definitely a highlight of my work here. And like Pat said, the other half is working with R&D with our Japan team, and they'll say like, okay, well, we're coming up with a new product, and we need to get you guys, you know, help us with that. And so, what colors are good? What do you guys think? What are artists requesting? What are people into in the States and over there for the next thing? And so I'll say, well, we have different shades of brown maybe for the next acoustic thing, or different shades of this or that, different shades of blue for the next rev stars and things. And so, yeah, it's pretty, I gotta say, it's really rewarding. And then, because the next step from that is they'll get us to help the factories, and they'll say, okay, so how can we create the guitars that was made here, like how can we get our factories and you know, overseas and stuff to make that? And so eventually it'll trickle down into the public, and you guys will be able to buy those guitars. And so that's very rewarding for me. But yeah, that's and you know, this is maybe one of those examples when that I call this Cosmo Black. It's just kind of my take on the, I don't know, some kind of Cosmo thing, but
Cosmic burst, yeah.
A cosmic burst. But you know, the deal with this, for example, this is just a generic shape, but I'd say like, well, binding only seems to come in black, white, and cream, right? So how can we get this different color binding, and how can we make guitars that maybe have some of those features and really cool things like that? This is another guitar for well, some of our next builds that are gonna come through, and just a nice piece of flame there with a nice tint on it.
Or sometimes we even play a little joke, you know. We did a custom guitar for the Music Zoo, and you know, we said, well, why don't we try and make, you know, like their logo, do a little zebra style.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a hard sell. That was a tough one to get.
A little silly.
You know, we still have a blast in here, and you know, Rafael has done an amazing job and makes me look good every day. I mean, the real thing is that guitars are a piece of fashion. They're, you know, what you wear on the outside of your clothes at some of the most important moments of an artist's career. You know, they're playing them on stage, and you want to look good, you want to feel confident when you're playing your instrument, and Rafael does that for everyone, and it's awesome. And he saved my butt quite a few times, so thanks, Rafael. This is awesome.
Oh, thank you, and nice to talk to you guys, and I'll pass the ball to Pat and finish the tour.
Awesome. So, you know, that's it for downstairs pretty much. But you know, we do have some more facilities upstairs. Now, like we said, we do all of the corporate R&D for Yamaha Guitars. And we are always doing sound testing and adjusting all the preamps and levels of everything. So let's head upstairs. Let's check out some of those facilities. Now we're gonna come back through where we went before. And yeah, so what we do is we wanna test where those guitars are gonna, sit in a music store. Are they gonna look good on the shelf? We wanna make sure that we have the preamp sound that's gonna be perfect. So we're gonna test with PA speakers, or we're gonna test with studio monitors, or we're gonna test with Shannon. So up here, and it's not only all about the music, sometimes it's about the hang. And this is our hang area. Right now it's closed. We're really taking our health seriously, and so we've closed off all the common areas, unfortunately. But in the morning we might come over here and chat about what our coming projects are, or we might talk about what we're going to build that day, and we'll have lunch with artists. So one of those things is, when we are testing preamps, we'll use this studio room too. Now this room, very similar to downstairs, is our studio area, and we'll test with Helix, we'll test with the THR, we'll test with some really nice monitors. So all the NX and all the atmosphere pickups that were developed in here by Yoshi Tambara, my boss, and Sam Wang, Ben Adrian. We got everybody coming in here. We work hand in hand with our Line 6 folks and with Ampeg. And actually, when we're all done in there, we want to see what it's going to look like inside of our showroom, right? We want to make sure that it's going to look great in a store. So come on in here, and this is our guitar showroom. This is a really cool area because we'll have our first conversations with artists about a custom build in here, or we'll do evaluations when I make 5, 6 prototypes. We want to hang them on the wall, make sure they look cool. We'll get people's opinions, we'll try them out, and you can see some of the custom guitars I've made over the years in here, some previous NAMM show guitars, some of my favorites get to hold on to. How about Mike Stern? We're gonna give one of these away during this broadcast, and actually I'm gonna set it up for whoever wins it. So yeah, get on there, make sure you apply to win that, because I'll tweak it however you want, whatever you want your setup to be, or we'll make some cool custom Pacificas, Rev Stars. Got some cool vintage pieces in here too. This is S815. This is one of my favorite Yamaha designs. This thing is amazing. I love this guitar. So we'll come in here, we'll chat with an artist, we'll talk about future products. We will plug it through the Helix, through some amps. We'll get it real loud, just like you would in a regular music store. We want to make sure that when we make something custom, or we're going to make a product that you could buy in your local store, that it's going to ring true and look really cool. So we're going to test with all of our Line 6 gear, just like you guys might play. So speaking of Line 6, I think I might swap my mask here, because we're going to tip everything off to the folks at Line 6. We're gonna have a little tone crafting segment. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tour of the custom shop, and have fun with Line 6. Cheers, folks.